I'm Angie Due, and we're in Lake Elsinore at the Mindful Lotus.
Gotcha.
I'm the owner of the business, and I am the Reiki Master Teacher, so I teach Reiki. I also offer Reiki sessions. This particular location, I came here 2 years ago in 2020, but I was on Main Street since 1999. Same store. Well, actually the first store had a different name, and then I changed the name, and now it's the Mindful Lotus. So the store centers around the metaphysical, the spiritual, holistic side of living. So we do anything that's for the mind, body, spirit. Also offer a few other services like the Ion Foot Detox and the ear candling, aside from working the counter of the retail part of the business. So I started doing Reiki back in the early 1990s, and it is working with the energy. It's moving the energy in the body, also aligning the chakras and kind of getting them a little balanced. All Reiki practitioners work differently. That's the way that I work. I just move the energy in the body. So I describe it's a massage for the soul. It's just moving the energy. I like to use my tuning forks and crystal bowls in the work, and I like to be able to try and connect with the client and give a little bit of a reading at the end. I don't have a mentor. Obviously I have a Reiki Master Teacher, that's who attuned me, but as a young child I was able to heal myself naturally. So as I became older, I got a little bit, got involved in worldly things, and then got back on my spiritual path and just came across Reiki, and I thought that's something that I do naturally, and now I could give it a label. I could give it a title so that maybe people would look at it like a little bit more of a legitimate work. The way that I worked, I was very young, so I've been intuitive ever since I was young, and my parents nurtured that. They didn't tell me to be quiet about it. So I've never actually had a broken bone before. So what I did is if I got a cold or if I got a cut or a scrape, I had a strong connection to God back then, and I still do. So I basically put my hands over what area of my body was hurting, and if I was sick, I put my hand over my heart, over my stomach, and it seemed to be gone. Scratches and cuts healed up, and so that's what I did. I do like the Avengers. I would like to be an Avenger, but I would be causing so much chaos so God's not giving me that gift. Well, the first thing I do say is, because I do have Christians that come in and tend to attack, and I just say, hey, you know what? As long as you leave as my friend, I don't mind you challenging me or us debating about this. But without God, I would be lost. He makes me all that I am, and you're not supposed to judge me. That's God's job. So usually when I say that stops it. But in the Bible, people laid of hands. I mean, they talked about herbs in the Bible. They talk about crystals and stones in the Bible. So I just believe that God or Jesus was also gifted, and there are prophets and there are healers out there. So why not now, if they were back in the Bible? It is what it is. I'm not evil, unless you make me mad. Then I could turn into a beast. No, I'm not the only person. I teach the Reiki as well as I offer Reiki sessions. And we also have Leslie, and she's a Reiki Master Teacher as well. And so she offers Reiki and she does tarot card readings. And then we have people that come in on a monthly basis who will teach like herb workshops. Leslie also teaches Tarot Circle. We have a few people that do different things here. So we have in-house, there's just 3 of us right now, but everybody else comes in monthly and teaches. There's a lot of us around. I think we all are. We're all a work in progress. None of us are perfect, so that's what makes us unique. So this particular building, I don't know a whole lot, so I'm just going to skim the surface. The Historical Society just recently opened back up. So from what I understand, it goes back to the 1900s. And I think Captain Cresswell, I think he was a captain from, the San Diego area, bought the building in 1916, I believe, and took it over, and it's a bathhouse. It's been a bathhouse. The well that sits out front, it's been there for 100 years. The man who maintains it told me, and it still gives us water today. So we have mineral water running through the faucets, and the tubs are still there. They're just capped off, so we aren't using them at this time. But one day I would love to uncap them and use them again. So it's been around for a long time, yeah. I am very familiar with crystals, yes. There's no negative with any of the crystals. They all carry a vibration. So whatever it is that you're trying to attract, so you take rose quartz. A lot of people are trying to attract rose quartz, just a calming, loving environment, and that's the energy that rose quartz carries. So it's something that you would wear on you, maybe place in a room where you're trying to achieve that vibration of calmness and love, and that's how they work. There's no evil attached to any of them. A lot of them don't like the sun, even though they do come from the earth and they're all natural. They can fade. Rose quartz will fade, amethyst will fade, your labradorite will fade. A lot of them will fade. So the best thing to do with them is either put them in a bag, sage them, Palo Santo, sweetgrass. You could clear them in their energy in a crystal bowl or a Tibetan bowl, or putting them out when the moon's full. That's the best way. I would only put like a quartz out in the sun, something that's clear. So I never had any intentions of ever opening a store. And I worked at a place called Harry and David, and it was going out of business. And so since I wasn't part of the regular payroll, I was just there seasonal, but I was there for several years, so she never put me on payroll. The place closed and they told me that I wasn't going to get a severance package. So I said, oh, it's okay, I had some good times and what have you. And in the meantime, I was selling herbs and oils at the farmer's market. And then one day I was driving down Main Street, and even though I grew up in Main Street, was familiar with all of the stores down there, there was one store in particular that drew my attention. And one day my husband pulled up and wanted to go to Guadalajara's, and I'm Mexican. I was like, I don't want any Mexican food. And he's like, no, this is a new place. And as soon as I saw the building, I knew I was going to move in there. And it was always closed, never could get in there, but I would drive by there every day. And then one day the for rent sign went in the window. And the next day was a Sunday, and my husband never worked on Sunday, ever, and he had to work this Sunday. And so I call, and the owner says, well, there's already 5 people ahead of you, someone's gonna rent it. And I said, I've got to get in there and see this building. It's just calling to me. So he said, okay. So I got my mom, and my mom was my partner in crime, so she said, I'll go with you. So we went in there and we walked in and literally took 2 steps in, and my mom was behind me, and my mom stopped, and the owner looked at her and she said, your dad and I bought our wedding rings in this building. And the owner said, oh, how long have you been here? My mom goes, I've been here since 1941. And it turned out that our families all knew each other. So he said, okay, I'm gonna give you the building. So I said, okay. And he goes, let me go get the lease. And so I said, okay. And he brings the lease over and he says, well, you got to leave a deposit. And I said, I don't have any money. And I said, I don't. And that's the honest to God truth. I had no money. And I said, this building called to me. I just feel like I need to be here. So he handed me the keys and he said, I'm going to give you a month to come up with the rent and the deposit. And he goes, go ahead and move in. So I went home and made my husband this meal that he had been wanting me to make forever and a day. And my husband walks in and he said, what'd you do? And I said, I rented that building. He said, how are you going to pay for it? And I said, I have no idea. And so we went down and checked out the building, and I didn't sleep for like 3 nights because I'm thinking, what have I done? I have nothing. And a FedEx truck pulled up and honked, and I ran outside, and he handed me an envelope, and it was a severance package from Harry and David. So I had enough money to cover my rent and the deposit. So then I opened my store. I have no customers because I don't have no product in there, and I have no sign. And my husband said, you've got to take a break. I'm going to go to Vegas for a convention, and I want you to go. And so I said, okay. And I'm a people watcher, so I was watching everybody. I'm not a gambler. And so he gave me a sheet of paper. We were playing Keno, and you pick so many numbers or what have you. And so I picked some numbers and I took it up there, and the man said, oh, you picked too many numbers. And I said, well, hold on a second, let me take some off. And he said, you're in Vegas, we don't do that. And I said, just give me a chance. So I marked a couple numbers off, and I won the jackpot. I won so much money that he had to, I sent my husband up first of all. I said, here's my thing, go see if I won. And my husband and the guy looked back at me, and my husband's friends were like, what happened? I said, I don't know. And the guy left, and my husband comes back and he goes, you won the jackpot. He's never in 25 years or 26 years seen this happen before, and he doesn't have enough money to pay you. So I said, okay, I'm ready to go home. So I won enough money to fill my store and buy a sign and everything. So I knew I was meant for this line of work. So that's my story on how I got started in 1999. So I always feel like the paths that we've crossed, people that or in our path is meant for a reason. So you just got to follow that guidance. Even though it's scary, you just got to jump in. Take a leap of faith. So I did.